I hope everyone can see the PPT. In the video, you all saw how process is allocated in Gantt chart using round robin scheduling algorithm with the time quantum 2 millisecond and time quantum 4 millisecond. So whether you find any difference between the two, is the time quantum with the 2 millisecond and 4 millisecond. See in this slide number 3, I have shown the two examples which we have discussed in the video. If you observe means here I have indicated using a red line. All those red line are the context switching. So what do you mean by context switching means? That is a switching between execution of one process to another process. You're going for context switching. See in the Gantt chart, you can observe. See for a time quantum equal to 2 millisecond. See from process P1, the CPU execution has switched to process P2. Likewise, we are having so many context switches in time quantum with the 2 millisecond. You can observe there. See, there are 11 context switching. Context switching means switching between different process in the CPU execution. Okay, that is context switching. Switching between different process. See, in case of time quantum equal to 4 millisecond, you can observe there is a less number of quantum switches compared to time quantum with 2 millisecond. That is, if you're having this time quantum or time slice, if you're having the value as very small value, if you're having very small value means we'll be having so many context switches as shown in the figure. If you're having somewhat higher time quantum value means you can observe fewer number of context switching. So we will prefer the system which having fewer number of context switching because the CPU will be smoothly executing a process and we'll be preferring fewer number of context switching so that because while switching from one process to another process we might observe some time delay. So we need a system which has fewer number of context switching. But if you see the response time or the waiting time, if you compare the response time or the waiting time between the two, that is with the time quantum 2 millisecond and time quantum 4 millisecond. See, the waiting time or the response time is somewhat higher for time quantum with 4 millisecond. So while having higher value for time quantum, we'll be having fewer number of context switching, but the process have to wait in the system for a few more longer duration to execute in the CPU. Okay, so that is a bit disadvantage if we are having larger number of time quantum. So we have to choose the time quantum in a way that it should be neither too small nor too large. So only we'll generally prefer time quantum of 3 millisecond or 4 millisecond. If we are having the same problem, if we have the time quantum of 6 millisecond, then we'll be having fewer number of context switching, but the process will be waiting for long duration in the system. That waiting time is long means it is denoted by starvation. Okay, that is starvation. So normally in English word is what do you mean by starvation? That is a if a people is starving means he doesn't have any food means we'll be saying he's starving. The process is waiting for a long duration in the CPU means we'll be saying it as starvation. So there is a problem arising in the system that is known as starvation, because the each and every process have to wait for a long duration in the CPU. Okay, so we have to choose a time quantum, that is everyone mute your volume. We have to choose the time quantum which is neither small nor larger. Okay, next we will see the Banker's algorithm. In yesterday's class we have seen Banker's algorithm to find the safe sequence. I hope everyone might have understood how to find the safe sequence, and you all have submitted the assignment in the topic also. So in today's class we will see, suppose if a request, in last class we have seen to find the safe sequence alone with the given allocation matrix, maximum matrix and available matrix. Suppose if you're having another question, that is if a request from a process P1 arrives at time T1, then the system will be safe or not. We have to find that. Like that, if a question comes, means what we have to do. That we will see in today's class. See, we are considering the request. See, the request arrives for P1 process. So the request for P1 is 0420. That is for the resources A, B, C, D. So we are considering the same problem which we saw in the yesterday's class, but an additional question is given here. Okay. That the additional question is, if a request from a process P1 arrives at another point of time, say T1, whether the system will be safe or not. If the system is safe means we have to find the safe sequence. Okay, like that the additional question can also be asked in this type of problem. So if the question is asked so means, first of all we have to compare the request value with the available value, because these requests should be granted to the particular process with the available resource. So இருக்கிற available resource வச்சு தான் நம்ம அந்த request grant பண்ண போறோம். So அப்போ அந்த request வந்து available குள்ள இருக்குமா அந்த மாதிரி நம்ம compare பண்ணணும். So we have to check the condition is whether available is greater than or equal to request. See here we have considered the same problem which we discussed in last class. So the available matrix is 1520. So we are comparing whether 1520 is greater than equal to 0420. That is a request. If I compare means the condition satisfies. So the condition satisfies means we can grant this request with the available resource for a particular process. Okay. So after that, if the request is granted means we have to subtract that value from the available resource. நம்ம இந்த request grant பண்றோம். அப்ப என்ன பண்ணணும்? இந்த available subtract பண்ணணும்ல. நம்ம இருக்கிற available resourceல தான் இந்த request நம்ம satisfy பண்ண போறோம். So we have to subtract this available from the request value. Thus we'll be obtaining the new available value. So the available is 1520 in this problem. The request is 0420. Okay. So while subtracting, we'll be obtaining the value 1100. So this is the new arrival. Now we have to do the problem with this new arrival. Next, we need some changes in allocation and need matrix of process P1 also, because we have granted the request. If the request is granted means that request is allocated. What is the request value? 0420. So this value 0420 is added to the allocation matrix of process P1, where we are having this P1 in the second row. So we are adding 0420 request value to the already available value 1000. Okay. Likewise, I am obtaining the new allocation matrix. Okay, see. The new allocation matrix changes only the value of allocation matrix of P1. That is obtained by adding the allocation value plus the given request. So we have obtained the new allocation matrix. The allocation matrix change means there will be a change in need matrix also. because we have obtained the need matrix by subtracting the maximum matrix and allocation matrix. So while subtracting, so we'll be obtaining the new need matrix. That is the need matrix for process P1 only varies. Okay. Likewise, we can obtain the new need matrix. So with this value, with this allocation matrix, maximum matrix and need matrix, we have to check whether the system will be in safe sequence or not. So for that, we have two steps. First step, we have to determine the need matrix. We have found out the need matrix. Next, we have to check the condition for safe sequence. So as usual, we are assigning the new available to the variable work. Okay, there is a new available here is 1100 is the new available. This new available is allocated to the value work. Okay, with this work only we are going to compare through the whole problem. Okay, so for the process P0 we'll be comparing. So what is the condition? Need matrix should be less than or equal to work. So for process P0 means we have to take the first row of the matrix. See, the first row of the need matrix is 0, 0, 0. So I am taking this 4 zeros and comparing it with the work. The work is 1, 1, 0, 0. See, that condition less than or equal to satisfies. So this process P1 can finish with the available resource. So this finish of P0 is true. That function is true. Next, we are saying that P0 is the first process which enters into the safe sequence. Next, after the completion of P0, the allocated resource of P0 will be released. So, we have to add the allocation of P0 with the work. See, work is equal to work plus allocation. So, what is the previous value for work? 1100. The allocation of P0 is 0010. So I am adding the two values and obtaining the new work value. Okay. So from the next process, we have to use the obtained new work value. Next, the sequence, we are going to check for process P1. See, for process P1 only, we have changed the need matrix. So the changed need matrix is 0330. Okay. See, here we are comparing the values 0330 is less than or equal to the work. Work is the newly updated work, that is 1112. The condition fails. See, it is not less than or equal to, because if you see the second element, 3 is not less than 1. So this condition become failure and we'll be saying that finish of that process P1 will be false. Likewise, we'll be checking for each and every process. See, for process P2, if you are checking means that condition satisfies and it enters into the safe sequence. So the second process which enters into the safe sequence is process P2. So after execution of P2, the resource allocated for process P2 will be released. So the work value will be updated. That is, work is equal to work plus allocation of P2. Okay. Thus we are obtaining the newly updated work value. Next, for process P3, if we consider means the same condition we have to check, need is less than or equal to work. For process P3, the need matrix is 0020. See, here we are having this value less than the work value. So the condition satisfies, and the third process entering the safe sequence is process P3. So after execution of process P3, the allocated resource of that process will be released. So we are updating the work value as work is equal to work plus allocation. Thus we are obtaining the new work value. The similar way we are checking for process P4. Need is less than or equal to work. The condition satisfies. So the fourth process entering the system is P4 and we are obtaining in the new work value. There is a work plus allocation of process P4. At last only we'll be checking for process P1. Okay. If you check for process P1, now if you see the same need matrix 0330, now it is less than or equal to work value. So at last this process P1 will enter the safe sequence. Okay, so the finally obtained safe sequence is P0, P2, P3, P4, P1. Okay, so this is the safe sequence obtained if we grant the particular request for process P1. Okay, so these types of question will be asked here, and also in addition to that, some questions like what are the initial resources available? So what are the resources available initially in the system? If they ask like that means we have to see the question. They ask the initial available resource. So in the question if we see means what is the available resource initially? Because they ask initially available resource. So in the available matrix we have to check that value. The value is 1520. See, we are having one instance of A resource, 5 instance of B resource, 2 instance of C resource, and 0 instance of D resource. See, which resource is not available at the starting time? D resource is not available. So what are the resource available in this case is A, B, C are the resources which are available initially. Okay. So we have to answer that A, B, C are the resources available initially. Next, they may ask some other question from the safe sequence. Which process will be executing at last? So we have to look in the safe sequence. In the safe sequence, we can find the last process which is executing in the CPU, that is P1 here in this case. So the last process executing here is P1. Likewise, they may ask which is the first process executing in the system, or which is the third process executing in the system. Like this, these type of questions can be asked in a Banker's algorithm problem. So we have seen the Banker's algorithm problem. It is a problem or is an algorithm meant for detecting the or avoiding the deadlock in the system. Okay. So once again, I'm repeating the problem. So in this problem, we are having an additional resource, additional request. If this request is satisfied means we have to proceed with the safe sequence calculation. Thus, we are obtaining the new safe sequence and we can answer the further questions using the obtained safe sequence. Okay. Okay. Next, we will see about the deadlock in operating system. In last class itself, we had seen some introduction about deadlock. So I have said when does deadlock will occur? Suppose if a process P1 is requesting a resource that is held by another process, say P2, and that process P2 is also waiting for some other resource. At that time, deadlock may occur. Likewise, we have seen in the previous class. See here, I have considered the resource example as printer and scanner. See in this example, I have taken the resources as a printer and scanner. This we have to mark like this in resource allocation graph. Okay. So first we will see what do you mean by resource allocation graph. After that we will see how we can draw this resource allocation graph. This resource allocation graph is also a method used for detecting and avoiding deadlock in the system. Okay. So using this resource allocation graph, deadlock can be easily detected when compared to Banker's algorithm. For Banker's algorithm, we have to do so many calculations. But here, simply by drawing the graph, we can obtain whether deadlock will be in the system or not. Okay. So it is nothing but a graph which represents the state of the system, pictorial representation of the state of the system, whether the deadlock will occur or not. So here we are having vertices and edges. So vertices means the process and the resource will be in vertices. Okay. And here we are having two types of request. One is two types of edges. One is request edge, another one is assignment edge. So request edge means the edge will be from the particular process to the resource. Okay. So for example, we are having the process, say Pi, that arrow, that edge will be from process to resource. That is, it is saying that this process Pi is requesting for the resource, say Rj. Okay. Thus, we'll be having the requesting edge in resource allocation graph. In assignment age, what will be happening means the process is already allocated with a particular resource. That is RJ is a resource which is allocated to process PI. So like this given in this assignment age, we'll be having this arrow. Okay. Now I will show an example of a resource allocation graph. In the slide number 16, you all can see the example of resource allocation graph. Normally, the resources are marked in square box and the process will be given in round circle. Okay. So we are having three processes in this example, P1, P2, P3 and some resources R1, R2, R3, R4. Okay. See in that square box, we are having some dots. The dots represents instances of the resource. So instances means so the resource எவ்வளோ time அந்த processக்கு available. Okay. Instances எவ்வளோ time அந்த resource available இருக்கு அந்த அததான் dotல represent பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Okay. See for R1, R2 and all, sorry, for R1 and R3, we are having single dot that represent we are having only one instance of R1 resource and one instance of R3 resource. If you see for R2, we are having two dots inside that box. So we are having two instances of R2 resource. Okay. The same way we can say, see in R4 resource we are having three dots. That is three instances of R4 we are having in the system. See we are having these are the vertices. And we are also having some line connecting these vertices. That is nothing but the edges. The request edge is from process to the resource. See from process P1, we are having a request edge to the process resource R1. That is a request edge. That is, it states that P1 process is requesting a resource say R1. Okay. The same way you can say this P2 process is requesting a resource R3. See, you can see the request edge there also. And the assignment edge, if you see here, means the assignment edge is from the resource R3 to P3. See, there's an assignment edge. That is the one instance of R3 is assigned to which process? P3 process. Okay. See, the three instance of R4 is not utilized by any other process. It is not assigned or it is not requested also. Assigned means we have allocated the particular resource to that process. Okay. So this is how resource allocation graph will look like. Next we will see an example resource allocation graph which has a deadlock occurring. See in this case, you see there will be a deadlock because see the process P1 is requesting an instance of resource R1, but that instance of R1 is held by which process? Process P2. And the process P2 R3 request பண்றாங்க. அப்போ அந்த process P2 க்கு என்ன ஆகுது? R1 resource hold பண்ணிட்டே R3 resource என்ன பண்ணுது? Request பண்ணுது. But அந்த R3 resource யார் ஹோல்ட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க? P3 process ஹோல்ட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. அப்போ என்ன பண்ண முடியாது? P2 ஆல எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ண முடியாது. P2 ஆல எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ண முடியலனா அப்புறம் எப்படி நமக்கு R1 resource P1 க்கு கிடைக்கும்? கிடைக்காது. So only after completion of the process execution P2 only this R1 resource will be released to process P1. So P2 exit பண்ண முடியாம நமக்கு என்ன கிடைக்காது? R1 resource P1 க்கு கிடைக்காது. So இந்த மாதிரி நீங்க ஒவ்வொரு கேसेसமே அனலைஸ் பண்ணி பாத்தீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு என்ன ஆகும்? டெட்லாக் இந்த இதுல வந்து அக்கர் ஆகும். Okay. Likewise, we can examine this resource allocation graph to find whether we'll be having any deadlock in the system or not. Okay. Next, we are having a simple rule for detecting whether there is an occurrence of deadlock using this resource allocation graph or not. That is what means if a cycle is formed in this resource allocation graph. See, we have already seen one of the condition for occurring a deadlock is circular weight. Okay, see here in this example provided in the slide number 19, you all can see two different process P1 and P2 and the resource R1 and R2. The resource R1 and R2 is available for one instance of resource only is available. See that R1 resource is allocated for process P1 because we are having the edge in that way. The process P1 is requesting the resource R2 because the arrow is away from the process P1 to R2. Okay. So this R1 resource is allocated to process P1 and the P1 is requesting another resource R2. Okay. And also we can see in this example, this P1 is assigned P2 process is assigned with the resource R2, but this P2 process is requesting the resource R1. So we are having a cycle formation, circular cycle formation. So this cycle formation in resource allocation graph will maximum leads to a deadlock condition. So we can say if this type of cycle occurs in the deadlock, this resource allocation graph, there will be a possibility of deadlock occurring in the system. Okay. See in this example, there is no cycle. Here there won't be any possibility of deadlock occurring. If we analyze means the process P1 is allocated with the resource R1 and it will be executing. Because it needs only one resource, it is also available. So that resource will be allocated and the process will be executing. See the process P2. It is allocated with only one resource R2. It is also available. So the process P2 will be executing. After execution of process P1 and process P2, the resources held by that process P1 and P2 will be released. That is R1 and R2 will be released once P1 and P2 completed its execution. Okay. So after that, P3 can utilize the resource R1 and R2 because P3 is requesting the resource R1 and R2. So request edge எப்படி இருக்கும்? ப்ராசஸ்ல இருந்து ரிசோர்ஸ்க்கு நம்மளுக்கு ஆரோ போச்சுன்னா அது ரெக்வஸ்ட் எட்ஜ். அலோகேஷன் எட்ஜ்னா என்னது? ஒரு அசைன்மெண்ட் எட்ஜ்னா என்னது? ரிசோர்ஸ்ல இருந்து ப்ராசஸ்க்கு ஆரோ போச்சுன்னா அது அசைன்மெண்ட் எட்ஜ். ஓகே. So like this, we can detect whether there is a deadlock in the system or not using resource allocation graph. Okay. See here in the slide number 14, we can see we are having two process P1 and P2. This process P1 is allocated with the resource scanner because அந்த arrow எப்படி போகுது P1ல இருந்து ஸ்கேனருக்கு டுவர்ட்ஸா போகுது. அப்போ என்ன ஆகுது? இந்த P1க்கு ஸ்கேனரை அலோகேட் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. ஆனா இந்த P1 வந்து எதை ரெக்வெஸ்ட் பண்றாங்க? பிரிண்டரை ரெக்வெஸ்ட் பண்றாங்க. ஏன்னா பிரிண்டர்ல இருந்து arrow வந்து okay, in the same way we are having another process P2. Okay. So P2 வந்து எப்படி இருக்கு? P1க்கு எந்த ரிசோர்ஸ் அலோகேட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க? ஸ்கேனரை அலோகேட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க P2க்கு. பிரிண்டர் வந்து யாருக்கு அலோகேட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க? P1க்கு அலோகேட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Okay. So in this example, shown in the slide number 14, printer is allocated to process P1 and scanner is allocated to process P2. So இப்படி allocation இருக்கு. But this process P1 is requesting which one? Scanner request பண்றாங்க. In the same way, this process P2 is requesting for printer. So இப்போ என்ன ஆகுது? Process P1 execute பண்ண முடியாது. ஏன்னா இது ஆல்ரெடி என்ன இருக்கு? ஸ்கேனர் பிரிண்டர் இருக்கு, ஸ்கேனரை ரெக்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணுது. அப்போ ஸ்கேனரை யூஸ் பண்ணி எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ண முடியாது. ஏன்னா அந்த ஸ்கேனர் வந்து யார்கிட்ட இருக்கும்? P1 ப்ராசஸ்ட இருக்கும், P2 ப்ராசஸ்ட இருக்கும். ஓகே. So I am repeating again. So P1 ப்ராசஸ்க்கு எந்த ரிசோர்ஸ் அவைலபிளா இருக்கு? அலோகேட் பண்ணியிருக்கோம் பிரிண்டர். ஏன்னா பிரிண்டர்ல இருந்து உங்களுக்கு ஆரோ P2 P1க்கு போகுதா, தட் இஸ் அலோகேஷன் எட்ஜ். அப்ப பிரிண்டர் என்ன பண்ணிருக்கோம், P1க்கு அலோகேட் பண்ணிருக்கோம். P1 எந்த ரிசோர்ஸ் ரெக்வெஸ்ட் பண்றாங்க, ஸ்கேனரை ரெக்வெஸ்ட் பண்றாங்க. P2 வந்து P2க்கு எந்த ரிசோர்ஸ் அலோகேட் ஆயிருக்கு, ஸ்கேனர் அலோகேட் ஆயிருக்கு. P2க்கு பிரிண்டர் வந்து ரெக்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணுது. சோ அப்போ P1ம் எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ண முடியாது, P2வும் எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ண முடியாது. ஏன்னா P1 ஸ்கேனரை ரெக்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணிட்டு பிரிண்டரை ஹோல்ட் பண்ணிருக்கு. P2 என்ன பண்ணுது, ஸ்கேனரை ஹோல்ட் பண்ணிட்டு request பண்ணுது. So here we are having a deadlock condition in our operating system. Okay. So we can define the deadlock as it is a situation where a set of process are blocked because each process is holding a resource and waiting up for another process which is acquired by some other process. So deadlock னா என்னன்னு சொல்றாங்க, இதுல வந்து என்ன ஆகும், ஒவ்வொரு ப்ராசஸும் ஒவ்வொரு ரிசோர்ஸ் ஹோல்ட் பண்ணிட்டே இன்னொரு ரிசோர்ஸஸ்க்கு வெயிட் பண்ணுது. அந்த வெயிட் பண்ற ரிசோர்ஸ் வந்து என்னது, இன்னொரு ப்ராசஸ் ஹோல்ட் பண்ணிருக்கு. அப்ப என்ன பண்ண முடியாது, எந்த ப்ராசஸ்மே எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ண முடியாது. அந்த மாதிரி கேஸ தான் என்ன சொல்றாங்க, டெட்லாக்னு சொல்றாங்க. ஓகே, I hope now you all will be clear about the concept deadlock, which I have given with an example. Also we have seen about resource allocation graph and how we can detect the deadlock in resource allocation graph. So till now we have seen different algorithms, that is different CPU scheduling algorithms. So that is in problematic way we have seen it. See, if we are seeing in first come first serve, that is FCFS is a first come first serve CPU scheduling algorithm. So what will happen in that first come first serve algorithm, the process which arrives the system first will be executed first. Okay, that is a concept for first come first serve algorithm. We'll be seeing it with arrival time. Okay, there is a chance for occurring convoy effect. So convoy effect na enna, இப்போ நம்ம என்ன சொல்றோம், FCFS algorithm படி first எந்த process systemல arrive ஆகுதோ அந்த process தான் first execute பண்ண போறோம். So அப்போ first execute பண்ற process ஓட duration, that is burst time வந்து ரொம்ப லாங்கா இருக்கு. Burst time is high for the first received process means அதுக்கப்புறம் எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ண ப்ராசஸ் வந்து ரொம்ப நேரம் வெயிட் பண்ணணும். ஓகே, ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இந்த FCFS அல்காரிதம்ல ஃபர்ஸ்ட் சிஸ்டம்ல வர ப்ராசஸ், சப்போஸ் P1 ப்ராசஸ் தான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அரைவ் ஆகுது, அதோட பர்ஸ்ட் டைமே ஒரு 20 மில்லி செகண்ட் இருக்கு. அப்ப 20 மில்லி செகண்ட் வரைக்கும் அடுத்த வர ப்ராசஸ் என்ன பண்ணணும், வெயிட் பண்ணணும். அடுத்த ப்ராசஸ் ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் சே P2 may arrive the system at first millisecond and P3 may arrive the system at third millisecond and P4 may arrive the system at fourth millisecond. Likewise we are having means the 20 millisecond வரைக்கும் என்ன பண்ணணும், ரிமைனிங் சிஸ்டம்ல ப்ராசஸ் எல்லாம் வெயிட் பண்ணணும். சோ இந்த மாதிரி ஃபர்ஸ்ட் சிஸ்டம்ல அரைவ் ஆன ப்ராசஸோட ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் அதிகமா இருந்ததுன்னா there is a chance for convoy effect. சோ இதுதான் convoy effect ன்னு சொல்றாங்க. It is a phenomenon associated with FCFS algorithm in which a whole operating system will slow down due to the few slow process. Whole operating system is slow ஆயிருதா, நம்ம என்ன கான்செப்ட் யூஸ் பண்றோம், ஃபர்ஸ்ட் எந்த ப்ராசஸ் வருதோ அதான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ணணும்னு. இப்போ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வர ப்ராசஸே ரொம்ப லாங் டியூரேஷன் எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்ததுன்னா என்ன பண்ண முடியாது, மற்ற ப்ராசஸ் எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ணாம சிஸ்டமே ரொம்ப ஸ்லோ ஆயிரும். ஓகே, this is a disadvantage about FCFS algorithm. So till now we have seen about different CPU scheduling algorithms. நிறைய அல்காரிதம் பார்த்திருக்கோம். ஸோ அதில் நீங்க எல்லாரும் அசைன்மெண்ட் சப்மிட் பண்ணியிருக்கீங்க. ஸோ இன்னைக்கு பார்த்தது வந்து ரவுண்ட் ராபின் ஷெட்யூலிங் அல்காரிதம். ஸோ நம்ம வந்து 2 டைம் குவாண்டமை கன்சிடர் பண்ணி அனலைஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். ஃபார் அனாலிசிஸ் பர்பஸ் நம்ம ஒரே ப்ராப்ளம்க்கு டைம் குவாண்டம் வித் 2 மில்லிசெகண்ட் அண்ட் டைம் குவாண்டம் வித் 4 மில்லிசெகண்ட் யூஸ் பண்ணோம். ஸோ அப்படி பண்ணும்போது என்னென்ன டிஃபரன்ஸ் அக்கர் ஆகுது நம்ம பார்த்தோம். தட் இஸ் டைம் குவாண்டம் ரொம்ப கம்மியா இருக்கும் போது என்ன ஆகும், கான்டெக்ஸ்ட் ஸ்விட்சிங் அதிகமா இருக்கும். அதாவது கான்டெக்ஸ்ட் ஸ்விட்சிங்னா ஒரு ப்ராசஸ் சிபியூல எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ணும்போது அது வெயிட்டிங் ஸ்டேட் போயிட்டு another process will be executing. இந்த மாதிரி switch ஆகும்போது அங்க சிஸ்டம்ல some delay will occur. So only we won't prefer so many context switching in the system. So அதனால நம்ம குவாண்டம் டைமை இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ணோம்னா என்ன ஆகும், ஒவ்வொரு ப்ராசஸும் சிஸ்டம்ல வெயிட் பண்ற டைம் அதிகமாகும். வெயிட் பண்ற டைம் அதிகமாகும்னா தட் லீட்ஸ் டு ஸ்டார்வேஷன் ஆஃப் த ப்ராசஸ். ஸ்டார்வேஷன்னா அந்த ப்ராசஸ் ரொம்ப நேரம் சிபியூல வெயிட் பண்ணுது எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்றதுக்கு. சோ இதே ஸ்டார்வேஷன்லாம் எங்க அக்கர் ஆச்சு? ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கம் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் சர்வ்ல. இந்த கான்வோ எஃபெக்ட்லனாலும் என்ன ஆகும்? ரிமைனிங் உள்ள ப்ராசஸ் எல்லாமே எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ண முடியாம வெயிட்டிங் ஸ்டேட்ல இருக்கா? அப்ப அது வந்து ஸ்டார்வ் ஆகுது. தட் இஸ் ஸ்டார்வேஷன். ஓகே. So we have to choose this time quantum in a way that is should be neither small neither large. So அந்த மாதிரி நம்ம டைம் குவாண்டம் சூஸ் பண்ணணும். இது வரைக்கும் நீங்க பார்த்த வீடியோஸ் எது ஷெட்யூலிங் அல்காரிதம் ஆர் இன்னைக்கு பார்த்த ரவுண்ட் ராபின் ஷெட்யூலிங் அல்காரிதம். ஸோ இன்னைக்கு பார்த்த ரவுண்ட் ராபின் ஷெட்யூலிங் அல்காரிதம்ல நம்ம ஈஸியா இருக்கிறதுக்காக கியூ வச்சு நம்ம பார்த்தோம். ஸோ கியூல ஏன்னா நம்ம சர்க்குலர் ஃபேஷன்ல தான் வித்தின் தட் அலோகேட்டட் டைம் குவாண்டம் பீரியட்ல ரன் பண்ண போறோம். கியூனா நம்மளுக்கு கொஞ்சம் ஈஸியா இருக்கும்னால இன்னைக்கு பார்த்ததுல கியூ வச்சு நம்ம பார்த்தோம். ஏதாவது ஒரு டவுட் இருந்தா நீங்க என்ன கேட்கலாம். நாட் ஒன்லி இன் round robin scheduling algorithm or in any scheduling algorithm, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. So யாருக்காவது டவுட் இருந்தா கேட்கலாம். பிகாஸ் we are having class up to 10:50. So இந்த செஷன் வந்து உங்க டவுட், ஏன்னா நிறைய பேர் டவுட் கேட்டிருந்தாங்க CPU ஷெட்யூலிங் அல்காரிதம்ல. ஸோ அதனால தான் ஒரு 20 மினிட்ஸ் நம்ம டவுட்ஸ் ஏதாவது இருந்ததுன்னா டிஸ்கஸ் பண்றதுக்கு நான் அலோகேட் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். ஸோ இன்னைக்கு பார்த்த வீடியோல இல்லைன்னா ப்ரீவியஸ் கிளாஸ்ல பார்த்த வீடியோல யாருக்காவது டவுட் இருக்கா?